Assume a single decision made in a moment of a fear or pride, leading to the collapse of civilization as we know it. Two nuclear armed nations, India and Pakistan, have shared decades of tension. But what if one day diplomacy fails and war begins? What would happen if nuclear weapons were actually used? And what if the real victim was the world itself? Hi everybody, I'm JC and welcome to my universe. Today I'm going to speak something about nuclear weapons, if they are being used by Pakistan and India based on their current clash. What if a border battle escalated beyond control? A convoy is attacked. Retaliation follows. Within hours, fighter jets are in the air, missiles are launched, and war is officially declared. What if, in a desperate move, one side used a tactical nuclear weapon to stop advancing forces, and if the other side responded with a full-scale nuclear strike? What if cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Islamabad, and Lahore became targets not just of missiles but of weapons designed to erase entire populations? But the real nightmare may not be what happens in South Asia, but what happens next. A nuclear war between India and Pakistan wouldn't stay confined to South Asia. The aftermath would ripple across the entire planet of Earth. Each detonation over a major city would trigger massive firestorms, burning buildings, forests, and everything in their path. These fires would send immense plumes of smoke high into the atmosphere. Scientists predict that up to 5 million tons of black carbon, essentially soot, could be released into the upper stratosphere. Unlike ordinary smoke, this soot doesn't get washed away by the rain. Instead, it spreads across the globe and forms a dense layer that blocks sunlight from reaching Earth. As a result, global temperatures would drop drastically by 1 to 2.5 Celsius. This sudden cooling is known as nuclear winter. Rainfall would decrease. The monsoon season in South Asia, vital for rice, grain production, could weaken or fail entirely. Crops in North America, Europe, and China would also suffer from shortened growing seasons and colder conditions. This climate disruption would not last for weeks or months. It could go on for a decade or more. With sunlight blocked and temperatures falling, the world would begin to face a food crisis of historic proportions. Major grain producing regions like US, China, Russia would experience shorter growing seasons and lower crop yields. Well, according to studies published in Nature Food, global calorie production could drop by 10 to 20% in the first 5 years after a nuclear exchange. This wouldn't just affect the countries at war. Even nations far from the conflict, in Africa, South America, Southern Asia, would face massive food shortages. In short, in a world already struggling with food inequality, more than 3 billion people could face starvation, and mass famine would lead to social unrest, economic collapse, and political instability on a global scale. Longer term consequences would be even more devastating. Moreover, nuclear radiation would render vast areas of land in India and Pakistan, which will be uninhabitable for decades. Not only this, water sources would be contaminated. Health system, already overwhelmed, would be destroyed eventually. Globally, trade networks would break down. Nations would shut borders to preserve food supplies. Ultimately, economies would crash. Hunger and fear would drive migration on a scale the world has never seen before. Due to all these effects, there will be constant conflict over resources like food, water, and land would erupt in multiple regions, and with trust eroded among nuclear powers, more countries would begin to build or deploy their own arsenals. Considering all these, the risk of further conflict, like even another nuclear war, would increase dramatically. Would you think there will be further consequences about this nuclear war? Comment below. We would like to hear from you.